you got some serious stuff to cover today. If you listen to the end of this video, until the end of this video, you're going to get the 5 ways that accountants, CPAs, and EAs can communicate their value to prospects, let alone the world. But first, let's get into the Jaeger CPA Review podcast. We're just going to listen to a little bit of it here. And what I want you to hear is just this piece, just this segment by me. There's a full, 40-minute conversation, right, with me and with Dr. Yaeger and I, with Phil Yaeger and I, and it's a really amazing podcast. By the way, I suggest you check it out. My episode is doing really well right now. It's one of the more popular episodes. I think it's the second most popular right now. Take a listen. It's getting views and traction for a reason. I said a lot of marketing things on there. I dropped a lot of value, right? And I'll give you a little preview right here. We're gonna play the interview, but it's relevant to all the value that I'm gonna drop at the end, which are the 5 ways that accountants, EAs, and CPAs can communicate their value. So let's listen in to this last little bit of the interview right here on iTunes, the Yaeger CPA Review and More podcast. And, let's see what we got here.
So I think everyone has to really, back to growing up in Central Texas, from the blue collar environment versus the white collar environment, from the school of Greg Popovich, everyone has a job to do. So, I mean, what is the job where you can bring the company the most ROI, right? I mean, I'm gonna make companies millions here before I make my millions, right? And I think that's very executable in the accounting space, where a lot of people don't know and give it the respect it deserves.
Let's stop there. The accounting space needs more respect, right? And you might say, well, why am I going to listen to you? You're chilling right now with a hoodie and you got a light right by you, right? What's going on here? Well, this is the second video I made like this. This is hoodie one. You got to get used to this. You got to know what this is. We're on the weekend here. I'm gonna about to drop a value. That's what it means when I got the hoodie on and we're reviewing a screen like this. Okay. There's no reason the accounting industry should not be one of the coolest, one of the most, baddest industries, bad to the bone industries that exist in the history of business. Okay. I mean, bad in a good way for all you cynics. So let's get into it. This is hoodie. When it's like this is hoodie one. It just means we're going to ball out with value. We're going to ball out. All right. So let's go.
But it's the most profitable industry, not because, there's so many people being ripped off, right? But just for a few reasons. And you might say profitable, what? Some entrepreneurs are barely scraping by. That's because even some EAs, some enrolled agents by themselves can market themselves better than CPAs. And so they're winning a lot of business over CPAs that, it's frankly, it is sometimes it is a marketing battle, and whether you have that skill or not, you're an expert or not, is it cost segregation, is it different expertise? And, I'm going on a tangent here, but the idea is find your expertise and then add value to the company and then communicate that, right? You don't have to be everything. Back to Phil is taking a course, or, I never even took a marketing course myself. And if anyone is going to come along and say, hey, if anyone is going to look at me and look at this podcast and study me and the things that I'm saying and say, hey, I'm a better marketer than Juan Garcia alone, don't go with him, go with me. They actually don't know what I'm building here, which is a firm. So that's exactly how businesses should be built. And I don't think the individualistic rhetoric of being an entrepreneur is correct. I think it's more of a team building environment. And back to, following the school of Greg Popovich, everyone has a job to do. So let's build businesses together.
Well, Warren, we have a few minutes left.
Okay, so that's all I'm gonna, preview from the podcast, right? Check out the rest for yourself. A lot of amazing gyms, marketing gyms dropped on there, but I just want to give you a little preview plus drop something special and very relevant to that last piece there, right? I said that, these accountants, these EAs are communicating their value, right? Enrolled agents are actually communicating their value much, much better. Some of them, the ones that can market, they're communicating their value much, much better than CPAs, than qualified CPAs, than CPAs that can actually save their clients even more money or show them different options, right? That is nothing else than a marketing battle. It's nothing other than a communication battle. It's nothing other than most CPAs do not communicate their value enough. They don't have any go-to tactics to communicate their value. They might, if I'm lucky, they might communicate their value logically, where, you're going to show me how the company is more profitable with the CPA and things that we're doing, right? But when they show me logically, they forget to spike my emotions and show me emotionally, right? They forget to make me make a logical decision based off of emotions. Okay. This is what my mentor, David Meltzer, says. All right. People buy for logical reasons based on emotion. Okay. So you've got to have both. Logic, it has to make sense. If I hire this person, this CPA, this accountant, if I partner with them, if I hire with them, if I so much as take their free consultation phone call, right? Are they going to be a value add to my business? Well, how else would they know other than you communicating the value, right? And that doesn't mean you need to necessarily have the podcast, but here are the 5 ways that I think, one person, me, my opinion, specifically for accountants, other business people can benefit from this too. But these are the 5 ways, and I've never said this before. That's why there's a video about it. These are the 5 ways that accountants, EAs, and CPAs can communicate their value for them specifically, but other business owners can use it as well, right? And so number 1 comes straight from what I've been doing all year long, what my clients have been doing all year long. We had James Orsini on the podcast with the Sasha Group. He said it on his podcast. What do CPAs have to do to communicate their value? Number 1, tell the truth. Okay. I don't know who takes notes. If you're taking notes here, write these down. These are important. You're going to have a list of 5 at the end of this. Okay. Number 1, tell the truth. So what good things have you done, right? What companies have you helped build? What companies have you helped grow, right? 4,000 plus fresh audits. That's what James Orsini said, right? A big headline, right? Served up this year, last year, right? How many clients did you help in tax planning from October through December, right? And how much were you able to save them? How much were the estimated savings? Now we're in March, we're in April. What happened with that, right? What happened with that now? Were you able to save your clients money? Going into April 15th, right? What happened last April 15th? Tell me, like just stats. Tell me just more of the truth, right? Just tell me more. You're almost telling me nothing. You're almost telling me nothing. I don't know um, any CPA or accountant that does this convincingly enough. Um, we're working on it with our clients, right? We're getting those big headlines out there. We're telling the truth about what they've done and marketing it as such. But there just needs to be more tr- truth telling. Replace that word with bragging, right? So what everyone else does online, right? It's bragging, sure. But when an accountant does it, let's just call it truth telling. Let's call it truth telling. Too bad, so sad. You'll hear me say that a lot. We grew that business. We grew that business. We grew them to their first $100,000 month. You don't think we're valuable? We grew them from below $50,000 to their first $100,000 month in 1 month. Does that sound valuable to you? Do I sound like an asset to a business? Does my team sound like an asset to a business if we were able to do that for a business like yours? Tell the truth. What did you do? What did you do? Right? One, we have no clients, right? We have no clients. Um, there's a lot of new entrepreneurs, new firms that are going to be forming in the next 5 years. I know for a fact, next 5 years, next 10 years, just because the cost and the barrier to entries are so low, right? Plus, you find someone like Gold Lake to market them. Like things get dangerous when you're new all of a sudden, right? And you might think that's me pitching to the newer entrepreneurs, but the newer entrepreneurs should look at this free content, use it, work a lot. Like me in my first year in business, and my first year in business isn't even over, but it definitely was. You know, there were all nighters. There were all nighters to help me build what I call as a brand staying power, right? Staying power. What does that mean? All that means is now when I step out onto the field, when I step out into LinkedIn, when I step out into Instagram, when I call an office up, one, I have results, I have things to talk about. Two, I have staying power. All that means is businesses in your niche, in your industry, see you as a valuable asset to their businesses, to businesses like theirs, right? So if we can establish that brand, if we can establish that staying power, then that's essentially, we should have no problem. The problem with sales that would be had if we do establish staying power would be the pipeline, the volume that our pipeline is filled, plus are we closing, right? What is our close process like, right? If we're struggling with sales, but we've built staying power, then it's our volume of prospects in the pipeline, right? We've got to fix that. We've got to fix our touch points there. We've got to fix our client acquisition there, our lead acquisition there, and closing. That's the other one, right? But other than that, brand should 100% increase sales. Brand should, it's like armor, right? It's like armor. It should protect you. And so I told you that story about me staying up, me working hard, me establish staying power. People in the industry know who I am now. Why did I take the moment to tell you that? That's just part of me telling the truth of my last year in business, right? So that's number one. Tell your truth. The second one is, I have it written down here, erase obscurity. Number 2, erase obscurity. Okay. So as marketers, as communicators, we're in a constant battle against obscurity. No one knows what you do. No one knows what an accountant does, man. No one knows what a CPA does these days. They're going to start calling you nicknames like TurboTax. They're going to say, get out of here, TurboTax. Okay? They're going to say, get out of here, QuickBooks. That's what they're going to start calling you if you don't differentiate yourself and start fighting that battle against obscurity, right? No one knows what you do. No one knows what you do. You could put an amazing post online, get very technical in your content, get very technical in your content, and you get a bunch of props from other CPA offices that might even be your competitors. What a joke. What a joke. The accounting industry for too long has stood around in one room with 4 walls, and the only people inside of it are accountants, right? Unless you're, providing a service or selling a product to accountants, I mean, why are you making posts to then attract other offices and other accountants? Like, spend some time growing your business, right? There's more accountants in my network. There's more accountants and CPAs and prospects in my network than there are marketers. Do you realize that? Now look at your network. Are there more accountants and CPAs and you're a CPA? Or are there more of your prospects? Do you have a situation like me where, if I do need a client all of a sudden, well, great, I've got some clients to pitch, right? That could very well be the case. But are they quality clients, right? Are there an abundance? Are you and I mean in your industry? Okay. That's where I'm trying to get you. All right. So you've got to tell people what it is that you do through images, through video, through text, through audio, through podcasts, through being a guest on the YaegerCPAReview podcast, right? Tell people what it is that you do. I have the luxury of erasing the obscurity of why I don't have a CPA on the YaegerCPAReview podcast. That's insane. That's lovely. And I appreciate Phil Yaeger and the Yaeger team for giving me that opportunity and that luxury to put more context around the reason that I don't have a CPA, plus allowing me to drop value. And then at the end, he kind of even asked, hey, Juan, like, tell them about your service, right? You're like an outsourced marketing department, right? So I was really appreciative of that. But what I'm getting at here is that it is intentional comms, okay? Intentional communications to let everybody know what it is that you do exactly. And if there are common misconceptions, then I want to hear about them, okay? Here's one common misconception about marketers. Here's one common misconception about my business. All we're trying to do is put you in a funnel to run you through a course. That's a common misconception, okay? I'm well aware that these courses and programs exist in the accounting market, all right? I don't do business like that. I don't sell these courses, nor will I sell one of those courses, right? Look at my free content. Great one. So you don't have a program, you don't have a course, you don't have a class, you don't have a PDF that if I download, you're going to collect my email. I don't have any of that, okay? What I do is I grow businesses as an outsourced marketer. And really, these days, building businesses almost like an internal marketer, an internal mobile team, right? A lot of people work remote. So I'm part of your remote team, right? You hire the Gold Lake media team as part of your remote team. And just to erase some more obscurity for myself, there's a difference between Juan Garcia and Gold Lake Media, right? When you sign a contract with Gold Lake Media, you're hiring Gold Lake Media, not Juan Garcia. You can hire both. That's very possible. There's a reason that if you look on my LinkedIn, it says advisor at Tax Token, right? There's a reason for that. So one thing that I want you to remember about erasing obscurity is that your prospects are not necessarily going to have or understand a lot of the lingo, the industry lingo that you're comfortable with. You might even be surprised, like, what? Like, really should know this. You really should know this, right? You might even be surprised with them, but you've got to spell it out, because when you keep it very industry based, and I'm talking about the accounting industry here, when you keep it very accounting industry based, when you keep it something to where only the accountants can understand, well, only the accountants are going to look at it. And if only the accountants look at it, I don't want to hear, why is nobody else valuing me, right? I don't want to hear, why are there only accountants liking my stuff when I really need prospects to like my stuff, right? Some of my best clients don't talk to a lot of other accountants. They're deep in their industries. They're deep in their niches. But when I go on LinkedIn, all I see is accountants marketing to accountants. It's super weird. It's super weird. And they understand each other, right? That's why they're marketing to each other, because they understand each other. You need to understand your prospect. You need to try to understand what your prospect does understand and doesn't understand. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like just all of you know what CAC and LTV means, because you don't, because my clients didn't. And some of them still probably don't, but they're growing businesses fast. Like, literally. Cost of acquiring a customer. Okay. CAC. LTV. Lifetime value. All right. What else can I say about kind of battling obscurity? Because that's a really important one that it's kind of easy to miss. Like, you want number 3 already, I can tell. You want I'm looking through the screen, I can tell, or through I'm listening to the audio too. I'm in your ears. The biggest thing I want you to do with this number 2, with this battling obscurity point to communicate your value, is to directly address some of the common misconceptions, because then you can say, here's what I actually do as a CPA in Texas. Here's what I actually do as an EA in California. Here's what I actually do as a software vendor out of New York. Many people think I do this. They might think I do this. A lot of people have been saying this, but actually I do this, right? You need a lot of those all year long, all year long. So number three, super easy and something you should not overlook and something you should take extremely seriously that people just aren't. It's called precision branding. Okay, so people might say it's targeted, right? Targeted marketing. Great. We can set up your targeting on Facebook. Fine. We can set up your targeting on Instagram. Fine. We can set up your targeting on LinkedIn. Fine. Run the ads, right? On YouTube, Google AdWords, search queries, set up the targeting. Fine. But what about just in your general comms, right? You need some precision branding communication. Guys, I just gave mine away too. I just literally in the last example, I said 3 states. I said them. I said 3 states. Why did I say those states? They're my big targets. They're my big targets. I'm doing business there. Plus, my strategy is to be there. My strategy is to be there. It's intentional. It's targeted. It's not by accident that I have clients in Texas, California, New York, right? And it might be city by city. Okay. So this is what precision branding is. It's knowing exactly where you want to communicate your message in the market. Is it big firms? Is it to zero, right? Is it to small firms? And I don't mean firms, I mean businesses, right? Is it to small businesses? Is it to large businesses? Is it to businesses in Idaho? Is it to businesses in Florida? Is it and is it to businesses in Miami, Florida? Is it to businesses in South Beach, Miami, Florida? Right? How specific can we get? There's a reason that I talk about tech things when I'm targeting Silicon Valley. Okay, blockchain, crypto, AI, VR. These are new emerging technologies. There's a reason that I talk about that kind of stuff when I'm targeting Silicon Valley or Austin, Texas. But then there's a reason that I talk about basketball when I'm talking about when I'm targeting San Antonio, Texas. There's a reason I'm talking about football when I'm targeting all of Texas, right? Come to California, talk about the beaches, talk about the nature, talk about the tech. Go to Texas, talk about the football, talk about the craft beer, right? And every accountant knows that. Like in Texas, if you know anything about Texas accounting culture, if you can talk about sports and craft beer in an accounting firm in Texas, it's over. You've got a path to the top, right? Come on. Context. It's called context. Shout out Gary Vee. That's what he likes to call it. Context. I'll give you this one. There's a reason that even though we're in the same time zone, right? There's a reason that I book my LA client in PST, right? I'm writing to him and like, okay, this time PST, right? Pacific Standard Time. But then when I'm in Vancouver, I write out PT, right? Did you get that? Did you catch that? Let's have this meeting at 9 a.m. PST when I'm in LA. But when I'm in Vancouver, it's 9 a.m. PT. Context. Next is an exciting one. And this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one that is going to save you deals. It's going to put some food on your family's table, right? It's going to get you that extra vacation. Number 4, okay, number 3, by the way, was precision branding, okay? Adding context, adding some dang strategy to what you are actually trying to achieve. Because I can put different types of videos out that are kind of for everyone, right? Or I can put the videos out that I know my prospects and the people that I'm actually targeting would love and like. There just needs to be more strategy around precision and targeting. Why? Because it's possible now. It wasn't possible back then. But when back then, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't possible 15, 20 years ago. Targeting like this. Are you kidding me? Plus, at a high value of the number of businesses that are actually online and have even gone digital. But more importantly, even if the decision maker is not online, the people around the decision maker are online, plus the spouse of that decision maker, especially if they're busy, you can market to them. I have I have spouses of accountants and CPAs that should be branding better in my DMs on Instagram. Their spouse is telling me, hey, we know so and so should be branding better. Like, what can they do? I'm trying to tell them to listen to Gary Vee. They're kind of making excuses. Like, I know they can do stuff. Yeah. You've got to be specific with your targeting. Okay. When people talk about lead gen, right? Other marketers all the time. This is something they talk about all the time, which is something, we don't always need in the accounting industry, right? We're able to get leads pretty fast. We're able to get leads like that. And if you don't know how to get leads like that, let me know. It's pretty easy. But when we lead gen, like, I don't know what the other marketers are doing, right, in the same industry. But what I'm doing is when we lead gen for a specific type of business in a specific demographic to make a specific type of sale. You like that one? Target a specific type of business in a specific demographic to make a specific sale. Sales, money, the way you're going to stay alive and reinvest that money back into your business. I'm trying to help you. Here's me erasing more obscurity, right? Yo, the people with classes and courses, they don't care about how much money you have right now. You pay a one-time fee to their course. If you need it again, come on now. Me as a marketer, growing businesses here, I'm trying to make you more money so that I can get paid. Like, do you realize that? I'm like one of the last people to get paid when I grow these businesses and marketing. All right? By tens of thousands at a time. How much does my salary increase when they grow? Right? That's something I look, and that's something I watch. Are my clients growing? Are my businesses growing? Okay. Thank you for allowing me the chance to erase a little bit of obscurity there, because you needed to hear that from me as a marketer, because I know that you don't think about those type of things, right? Juan Garcia, when he grows an accounting business, he wants it to make a lot of money so that he can even have a chance to make money, right? No courses, no programs. Let's go. So 1, tell the truth. 2, erase obscurity. 3, precision branding. And 4, reposition your value. That's right. Reposition your value. Okay. So do you remember the erasing obscurity conversation, right? So that's great. They saw your video where you're erasing obscurity, right? They saw your post where you're erasing that obscurity. People know a little bit more about what you do, right? You get them on the sales call, the introductory call. Maybe it's even the second call, right? But they're not convinced. We just didn't expect to spend as much, right? We didn't expect to be spending this much. We're having trouble seeing the value in this, right? I want my clients to say that. That's the difference between you and I. That's the difference between you and I. I want my prospects to say that. I don't see the value in this. Why do I want them to say that at least once? Because I'll put it like this. If a prospect says that to you at least once, I don't see the value in this, then that allows you nearly free reign to then make the best examples in the world that can basically shut them up right there. They're basically asking to be shut up. What they're asking for really is they're asking for more clarification of, hey man, help me see the value in this, right? And if it's not valuable, then like, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing, but you might not be a EA or CPA or accountant, right? Because usually those positions there's a value add, right? There's a value add there that I think can go a lot of different ways. So then you just have to put context around how you can add value in terms of what your prospect actually cares about, right? And most of our prospects in B2B, they care about sales, okay? So, which is why it's super hard for them to get excited about the CPAs and the accountants, right? They're more excited about the salespeople and the marketers than they are about the accountants. Why? Because the salespeople and the marketers, they're a direct line to growth. They're a direct line to, this is going to pay off. This is going to get me a return on my investment, right? Versus more of the defense of growing a business, which is the accounting, the processes piece, right? That's how they feel. That's how your prospects feel. So you've really got to do a good job of repositioning and reframing that value. And that might come by way of giving a quick example and starting it off by saying something like, well, look at it like this. Let's say they're spending $1,000 here. Let's just say they're spending $1,000 here. Look at it like this. You're spending $1,000 this month, right? Yeah, so they say, yeah, okay. Well, what we're going to do is we're looking at your taxes, right? We're looking at your books. We're looking at your options. We're looking at your assets. We're looking at different things. We already see some transactions that you can go ahead and put some good tax planning strategies around. Plus, we've got our own, right? And if you were to pay us this fee right now, and we were to save you X amount of dollars, let's say $30,000, right? you're going to spend $1,000 this month, but we're going to save you $30,000 in 6 months. How does that not make sense to you? A lot of other marketers won't tell you to say something like that. Why? They'll say it's too mean, right? I have a different philosophy. You've got to invoke emotion, right? You've got to say, how does that make sense to you? You've got to invoke emotion. You've got to say, you've got to ask if they're confused, even. Ask if they're confused. If you don't want to try this, if you don't want to try it, then that tells me that you don't even have enough leads to try it on. Like, you should be trying and testing different things, right? And one of the things that works really well is kind of testing the prospect, right? Laying that foundation of saying, look, we'll look at it like this. You paid us for this amount of work, right? And here's what we did. Now, if I could tell you that you could get that work done for a cheaper price, would you get it done for a cheaper price? I say, yes. Yeah, okay. Now, what if I told you you got it done for a cheaper price, but they kind of rushed it, right? They even missed a few tax strategies. And, well, they don't have that much experience. So there actually might be some errors in your tax work there. That's why my clients pay me what they pay me, because I have attention to detail. I have this, I have that, right? What do your clients say about you? Now, that example was just off of the top of my head, but what I can say, going back to testing different things with different prospects, right? How many prospects do you got on the pipeline? Like, cold calling might not be the best thing to do, but you should cold call just to test out different things. Have you done it? Like, have you done it before? I'm so surprised. I had a client lie to me this year. In fact, there were 50 prospects to contact. There were 50 prospects to contact on LinkedIn. I asked him if he contacted the prospects. He said, yeah. In fact, he said he did all 50. He contacted all 50 and went through our process that we talked about, right? And I was kind of surprised that he said that, because he would have been the fastest client to go through all 50. And then, I can't believe this happened, but he lied to me, right? He lied to me. He's not a client right now. Not because he lied to me, but I'm definitely considering that. And doing business with people, right? But when a prospect tells me, when an accountant tells me that they've contacted 50 leads, good job, right? Contacted 50 leads, but in reality, because I checked, they contacted either 1 or 2 or 0 instead of 50, like they said. That almost makes me realize what I know to be true, which is most accountants were raised to look good, right? Most accountants, if you go on LinkedIn, they look good, but their marketing is not good. And that's fine. That's fine, especially for Gold Lake clients, because Gold Lake clients are really happy that other accountants aren't marketing as as much, right? Because that leaves the market wide open for some of my clients. But what I know to be true just about really nice, well groomed professionals is that they're also trained from birth by their parents, by their upbringing, by something that happened in their life, by different things that happened in their life to look good and not look bad. So I figured that that client wanted to look good and didn't want to look bad. So they lied to me about hitting a prospect. Why is that important? That's important because that client of mine should have faced reality and should have realized they do gotta, exchange voices with other people, right? Let's just exchange voices here. Let's call it that. If we've got some anxiety about talking to people, right? And by the way, I'm not a therapist for your anxiety, but what I can say is that you would be better off if you just went for it, like if you just dialed the phone without thinking and went into the cold call, maybe even have a little script or bullet points, right? But if you did a whole lot less thinking, a lot less in your head, and more action, marketing would just work better for you. Okay. And I love this type of long form video because I get to really string things out. I get to take you to the deep end, right? That's what I call it, taking y'all to the deep end. All right. But the reason I spend so much time on things too is because these things are important. And it is important to reframe your value. It is important to attack obscurity, right? Get rid of that obscurity. Reposition your value. Have some precision branding. Add some context. Right. What else can I say about repositioning your value? I mean, they just don't understand how valuable you are, right? So there can be like 8 no's in a row, 8 no's in a row. They say, I don't see the value. 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 Each time, yeah, okay, here's here's an example. Do you see the value? No, I don't see the value. Okay, here's an example. Do you see the value? No, I don't see. Here's an example. Do you see the value? No, I see the value. I would say after 8 times of them not seeing the value, and you pulled out different tricks, like you've pulled out different examples. You've said, okay, well, what you've even asked them, what would make you see the value? I just don't see the value, right? If all that fails, just go for it. Ask them, is it the price? Is it your budget in your business right now? Start getting asking the hard questions. Is your business profitable and growing? Do you have enough to afford these services? Do you have enough to afford these services? Right? Use this one. It seems like you're a little bit hesitant of investing in a good CPA, right? It seems like you're a little bit hesitant in investing in a good EA. Oh, no. Well, I'm not hesitant. And then they tell you the truth. Why do they tell you the truth right after that? Because they don't like you getting them wrong, right? You got them wrong. Or they're going to say, I am hesitant, and here's why. And they're going to tell you the truth because you got them right. Okay? So remember that one. It's okay to assume things about your prospects. In fact, it's something that a few of my earlier clients, we've worked on a lot for them to close deals and get on a lot of sales calls. They were assuming things about their prospects, and it worked out really, really well. Number 5, this is a big tip for introverts. Okay. It could be on a deal. It could be on a phone call. It could be on a podcast, right? But you hear me on a podcast, like I'm gonna talk plus provide value. I'm gonna talk plus know what I'm talking about and give awesome value and sound really good doing it too, because that's something I worked on, right? Even though I am an introvert, I know how to go extroverted, right? I know how to, command attention. And so what if you're an introvert, right? What if you're an introvert that has to communicate their value? Then you want to go very factual. You want to go very factual. You want to go very, just in and out, right? How do we make our money? In and out, right? Traveling, business travel. Oh, we were in and out. That's what's worse than Whataburger? In and out, right? And that's what I want introverts to practice a lot of in their marketing, in their language, in their communications, in and out, right? Um, Quick, if they can type out answers on LinkedIn, if they can type out, articles, robust articles that really show off, that attack that obscurity, add some context, right? Precision branding, add some context around who they're really targeting, and kind of even reposition that value, right? A couple of key things we just talked about. If they can do that in writing the best, then yes, they should go to writing first. But if they're, let's say, talking on the YaegerCPA podcast, and Dr. He doesn't like to be called Dr. Phil. Dr. Yaeger, okay, Dr. Phil Yaeger, all right. If he asks them a question about their business, they cannot possibly talk as much as me. And they shouldn't. They're gonna sound too they're gonna sound too nervous. They're gonna sound too wishy-washy. The introverts that don't talk, something's gonna happen, right? So what I suggest, studying communication and all, what I suggest is a simple in and out answer, right? You say the answer, you make sure that your prospect understands, and then you shut up. Okay? For example, oh, we're just seeing if you could work on this, it's hourly, right? We're just wondering about your hourly rate for this. And then you say, well, for that, we actually have a fixed fee. It's a flat price per month. And what you get with that is da 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 da, right? Oh, well, we would really like to just pay you per hour. Do you do that? Well, we do that other thing per hour, but for this, we do flat fee. You shut up. Well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. What are your reservations? Well, you know, we've just never done business like this before. This is how we do business here. Well, I mean, we can show you. We can guide you. That's me. That's me going right. That's me getting a little extrovert. But do you see what I'm doing? Like, there's no problem in being short if you're to the point, right? There's no problem in being short and not talking as much if you are sharp in the way that you stop. Did you hear some of the ways that I stopped when I was on your side, like the pretending to be the accountant? I think stuff like that is important. And I think, you know, introverts talking in general, if we are smart, competent people, we know what we're talking about, right? But if we talk a little bit too much, we get in trouble, right? So just talk, like, just get the point across very fast. And don't be afraid to do what I just did there, like switch sentences. I do that so much. I do that a lot. Expert communicators, expert, really, like truly world class, like have been studying this stuff intensely. They're going to look at my stuff and say, Juan, well, you say too much. You do this and that when you talk. You do da da da. Guess how much I care, and guess how much that actually matters to me when I've got a whole, variety of other communication things to worry about than the and the ahs. I think people worry about the wrong things when it comes to communication. And I encourage you to test out a lot of this communication a little bit more, okay? On a little bit more people than you're used to. You've got to test it out on people, right? Because by the time you get to the prospects that you really, really want, you've got to know what to do. You've got to know what to do to get the prospects you really, really want. So let's have some fun this week. And I'm going to make a little call to action out there. And I want you to talk to 7 prospects this week, whether that's partners. So that's only one a day. That's only one a day. That's easy. You've watched this. No backing out. If you heard it, got to do it now. Got to do it. 7 prospects or 7 new people. Maybe you do more partnership type things than talk to prospects, or you do more collaborative type things and talk to prospects, but new people that you've got to reach out and do business with. Practice some of this stuff. Introverts, get in and out, right? Start reframing the value, reposition the value, okay? Attack that obscurity. A lot of people think that the accountants do this, but here's what I do, right? You hear me do that a lot. A lot of marketers do this, but here's what I do. And that's why some would consider me in a different class. So you've got to get there. You've got to be considered in that different class, in that upper echelon. And you could be very well skill-wise in that upper echelon. But if other business owners don't know, then you're not there. Communicate your value, my friends. And so if you'll allow me just to recap here, we're going to go through them one by one. So number 1, tell the truth. Easy. What have you done? Number 2, erase obscurity. Here's what people think accountants do. Here's what I actually do. Precision branding. Texas is different than California. LA is different than Vancouver. Okay, this industry is different than that. Reposition your value. All right. I want them to tell me no. I want them to be curious about the value to them so that I can give them more of an explanation. And each time they tell me no, I'm able to give them more and more and more of that explanation. Okay. Then there is 5, introverts. Got to get in and out. Sharp in and out answers. That's it. That's the way we do business. Well, you don't see the value? Okay, then here's what we'll do. Right. So those are the 5. Let's go through them really fast. 1, tell the truth. 2, erase obscurity. 3. I've got to memorize these. I've got to memorize these things. I've got them written down, but what you're gonna see is you're gonna see me say these 5 a lot, a ton, because I do believe they are specific to the accounting market. Okay, so I mean, a lesser person would have said like, oh, I've got to memorize, right? I don't have them memorized. I even have more communication tips than this, but these are some of the best for accountants, right? So just run off with this week and use. And plus, if you listen to that 7-day call to action thing, then now you have a little mission this week, right? Got to do it. 1, tell the truth. 2, erase obscurity. 3, precision branding. Okay. 4, reposition the value. 5, introverts, in and out. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of CPA Primetime. Check out this Jaeger CPA Review podcast and let me know if you have any questions. Always willing to answer questions in the DMs on Instagram. Always willing to answer questions on LinkedIn. Juan Garcia, the CPA marketer. And if you haven't checked out these episodes here, people tell me that they really like this Gary V episode right here, right? I would say James Orsini, that was probably my favorite podcast, right? Because he's another marketer. He's a legendary marketer. He drops value. Check that one out if you just want some more of this accounting marketing talk. Here's another cool one, very cool podcast, How to Make Your Accounting Business Cool with Cool Kelvin Joseph, dropping bombs. He is an awesome person. You gotta see that one. And then this is a big whopper right here that it's not my most viewed interview, but it'll probably make you more money than a lot of the others. And people are literally not using it. People are not using it. You've got to work. You've got to use it. So guys, hope you guys have a awesome week ahead. Hope you guys use those 5 ways that accountants, CPAs, and EAs should be communicating their value. And I hope it makes you some more money. I hope it lands you more deals. And if that was helpful, let me know below. We'll possibly make more videos like this. But I mean, it's a Saturday night here. I just thought I'd get on. Hoodie one. Like I said, we're just gonna ball. I'm gonna drop value, and I hope that you guys are able to take advantage of the awesome opportunity that I see, that my clients see, and that some of the fastest growing businesses in the world see. It's beautiful. Try it. You'll like it.